Welcome, wastrels and adventurers, to PIPCAST 3000, episode 34. This is a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about gaming news and Fallout and the Elder Scrolls and other stuff that we enjoy playing. I'm Caedo Genesis. I am joined by my co-hosts, BADCompanySarge.
Hi.
And Jared of Jarred Gaming.
Hello.
Gentlemen, we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and I feel like it's important to let people know to take care of themselves and their families, first and foremost. That is important. Remember the social distancing thing, that is still important. And don't ingest or inject disinfectant. I don't like that I have to say that, but I'm gonna say it. So, without further ado, let's go over the tip of the day, the comment of the cast, and what we're gonna be talking about today. Do either of you want to take those?
Oh, Jared, I don't suppose you can do a Doc Mitchell impression.
I might actually be able to. Take it slow. Take it slow now. It ain't a race. Ugh. That's the first time I've ever tried to do it, so just bear with me.
It's probably better than anything I could have done, so...
I was trying to conjure up like a Minnesota accent, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, to be fair, I can't actually remember how he sounds, so I don't technically know how good the impression was, but... it was good!
Yeah! Just edit in the actual... and just say it was me.
Well, luckily, that's the very beginning of the game, so... it won't be difficult. I think I have it in my playthrough anyway, so I can just hijack that audio.
There's some good voice lines in Fallout.
Yeah, there are.
I'll be talking about a few of them later.
Oh. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that discussion, actually. Positive scores on Steam. Oh my god.
What? I haven't actually checked that. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, I'm kind of jumping the gun here.
Yep.
Comment of the cast. What do we have for the comment from our last thing?
Oh, you mean the comment we agreed earlier that you were going to read out?
Oh, right. That's something we talked about, and I totally remember. You were I was testing you.
Yep.
Okay, so our last PIPcast 2 weeks ago, remember this is a bi-weekly podcast, we have a comment of the cast now. Been doing it a fairly regular thing, and we were talking about how this self-isolation thing that a lot of us are doing is kind of similar to living in a vault and vault life and stuff like that. And our wonderful patron, Jay Domore, left a comment about getting the feeling that the scientists of 111 were set up too. In Fallout 4, that is. I mean, they were told to wait X amount of time for the all clear and never came. She's asking, although do we ever find out how long Vault-Tec survived after the bombs dropped? Pretty much all the vaults lasted longer than them though, right? Somebody, Mouse Grey Eagle, replied, saying, perhaps one of the unpublished games was going to explore some definitive answers as to who and where Vault-Tec were, what happened to them, and there is some evidence from both in-game and cut content that Vault-Tec either was always or taken over by the Enclave. But as of right now, we don't have anything concrete saying that Vault-Tec might have set up their command structure since something.
You didn't click see more, did you?
I thought I had gotten the whole thing, but I guess not.
Nope. The comment was even longer than that.
Whoopsie. Well, that's my bad. But anyway, yeah, that was a good discussion topic in general, I think. Both like vaults, the experiments, and also what it feels like to be isolated for so long. Or at least having some of that put into perspective, probably not isolating for upwards of many years. I'm hoping it's not that for some people. But some things are up in the air right now, and for some of us, our lifestyles aren't changing as dramatically as some others either. And I can function without having to go outside all the time. That's not healthy, obviously, but I'm not going insane out of my mind because I can't go anywhere. I know those that are more extroverted are having a hard time, but hang in there. As Doc Mitchell said, take it slow now, it ain't a race. So
yeah.
Anyway, topics we're going to talk about. Wastelanders came out for 76.
Yep.
That's a thing that happened.
Yeah, it's a huge thing if you're a Fallout 76 YouTuber who wasn't planning on having any sleep for 2 weeks and then sleeping non-stop afterwards. It's great. So yeah, Fallout 76 Wastelanders, just in case anyone doesn't know, is a huge update to Fallout 76, which added back in human NPCs. We're all coming back to the Wasteland, and there's this whole main storyline with them. There's a couple of side storylines. There's like allies or companions who hang around your camp. They updated the graphics as well, because, you know, we're just adding in human NPCs, we may as well do a graphic overhaul at the same time. That'll be easy. But just tons of stuff happened with it. It's a ridiculous amount. Hence, like, it's been getting lots of positive reviews on Steam, as Caedo says, and which I just checked on. And I saw, like, on the page there were only a few negative reviews showing up. And most of them were, like, screw Bethesda. So, yeah.
So basically not constructive at all.
No, I think there was one which seemed to be... Well, one of them seemed to just be like, yeah, this isn't the game for me, here's the stuff I don't like about it. A few of them were screw Bethesda, and another one was someone who's getting, like, a blank screen or has, like, some technical problems. They don't give a very good description, unfortunately, so it's difficult to tell quite what's going on. But everyone else seems to be pretty much enjoying it. It's getting lots more people into the game, it's getting a lot of people back into the game, there's a lot of stuff to do within Wastelanders, and lots of, like, tiny little encounters as well. So it's made the entire game just so much better, and it's really nice, and plug for myself, I've been making content on it, so
Yes.
if you want to see what it's like, I did like an hour-long first look video, which gives you a real strong view of what, like, the early stuff is, both the factions meeting them, I think I got up to. I can't remember. I've played so much of it, I can't remember. There's so much stuff. Someone else take over. My mind is broken now.
Well, as Sarge was saying, he did a first look, as well as what was that? What was that 8 things video that you did?
8 things you might have missed.
Yes. I actually learned something out of that too, so that's something I would suggest as well, checking out on Sarge's channel.
I will say that video has a very mild, like, second quest in the game spoiler, which one person in the comments was very angry about. But the rest of it is pretty much spoiler-free in that video. So
Okay.
it's mild spoilers, obviously, for anyone checking out Wastelanders content. And be careful with the content you check out as well if you do want to go into things spoiler-free, because I'm
Yeah.
trying to spoiler tag all of my content to be like, hey, a spoiler's coming up at this point or whatever, but a lot of people aren't going to be doing that.
Yep, just to make sure. But for all the things that we're talking about in newsy stuff anyway, they're going to be linked in the description, including Sarge's first look video, and possibly that 8 things you might have noticed too. The Nuka Cranberry thing was...
Yeah. Nuka Cranberry.
Not Nuka Cranberry. I had found one of those before you had mentioned it.
Oh, okay, you're talking
It
about
was
Nuka
the-
Spoiler.
Nuka Spoiler, yeah.
Yep, Nuka Spoiler.
That it's something that's craftable
Yeah.
after a certain point, which is cool. I haven't been able to check if the Cola perk stacks with it yet,
Yeah, I've not taken a look at that either. That's something I should have checked,
Which-
but didn't think of.
which I would like to try, because I've been running Cola quite a bit more often.
If it does, and it triples that effect, that is going to be
Dude.
such a powerful beverage for
Heck yeah,
one
dude.
fight in particular I can think of.
Yep. But okay, so Wastelanders is huge. It's a huge expansion type update thing. There's multiple different factions added, not just the 2 that you work with, but there's different raider factions. There's just a lot of side questy stuff. I haven't gotten to do the what is it called? The caravan run yet?
Oh,
That goes through the tunnel.
Yes, I haven't done that either, actually, thinking about it. I'd forgotten that was even a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
There's
Blue
a lot to
Ridge
do.
Caravan Company, where you get to escort them. Yeah, I haven't done that at all. Because I think that event, like, triggers when you go over there, and I mostly played it on a private server on my own, and I was playing it essentially as a single-player game. And for anyone who does want to play this completely on their own, I will say it's a lot better than the base game of Fallout 76 was, because I played it on my own. like through both stories, and I've only done like 2 or 3 sessions with other players, and yeah, you don't need to rely on having a team too much, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it kind of speaks for
Except
itself.
for frickin' Colonel Gutsies. Oh my god.
Caedo's getting wrecked.
Oh!
Get good, Caedo. Come on.
I was complaining quite a bit at Sarge about them. So, pretty much, there was one Assaultron that got me, because I didn't realize that it wasn't an Assaultron until I was too close.
Oh, dear.
Because that's all it takes when an Assaultron's near you. But with the Colonel Gutsies, they don't need to be in melee range to just wreck your whole existence. Because some of them, not all of them, but some of them, like the higher level ones, have a 50 caliber whatever, and it seems like it just completely ignores your armor or does way too much damage, maybe both.
They're stupid strong, like crazy.
And I was having some stuttering issues, like further, especially around the AWOL Armaments, the Robco facility event, which that event would spawn Colonel Gutsies. So I was like, I have to be quick if I want to kill them, because I'm a melee dude, and if I don't kill them quickly, they will all shoot me at once and I'll die. But when I would get staggered by either getting like a limb crippled and having to heal myself and stuff like that and jumping up and down, I would get this, half-second stutter where I'd just be lagging in the air where they would all shoot me and then I would die. So, like, I was super salty by the time I was done with that, and like all of the Robco-oriented stuff with the side quests or the story-related quests and stuff like that, because it was just the Colonel Gutsies that would end up killing me. Nothing else. Nothing else throughout the entire story would kill me except the Colonel Gutsies, and that tells me there's a balance issue. It's not just me sucking at the game.
There is a balance issue with the Colonel Gutsies and Assaultron, I'd say. And that's been since launch. They've been, like, crazy good. Because robots in this game, like, all the low-level ones and, like, the majority of the ones you run into are very weak. Like, Protectrons, Eyebots, low-level Mr. Handies, all worthless. You don't need to care at all about them. Then you have Sentry Bots as kind of, like, the one mid-level robot, where it's like, yeah, Sentry Bots are fairly tough, but you can get rid of them alright. Turns out, sneak attack criticaling their fusion cores one-shot kills them.
Yeah, it does.
Which is just...
I've done that.
I did that on, like, in the storyline on, like, a really big Sentry Bot, and I was just like, oh, it's dead.
Is it the legendary one that spawns in?
Yeah, it was a legendary one, because it even exploded out of where I could loot it, annoyingly. It was a shame. But, yeah, and then after Sentry Bots, you've got, like, Assaultrons and top-level Gutsies, which are just some of the most powerful robots in the game, and some of the most powerful enemies in the game. Like, it is...
Yeah.
I feel like some of the enemies need balance changes overall. Cause
and we can count... I think we can count on, like, one hand which enemies are complete bullcrap. Because, like, there's a huge enemy variety in Fallout 76, but there's a select few that you can just be like, I've fought this, and it was a chore, and I didn't like it at all. And that's the Mark 7 turrets, for one, that have explosive rounds.
Yeah.
Those will stagger lock you if you're caught in their sights for too long. There's melee fighting Yao Guai. It's not possible, or really hard to do. And then, of course, the Colonel Gutsies and the Assaultrons, again, like, they can still, like, be blocked, which makes them doable.
I'd say the Assaultrons are borderline, because you can at least deal with them.
Yeah.
Like, if you can blow out their legs as well, that's a huge bonus.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways to deal with them, but Assaultrons feel like the top level of annoyingness you actually want from an enemy, and then everything else you listed is above that to the point where it's bad.
Yeah.
But considering some of the, like, supposedly toughest things in the game, like, there's behemoths in this game, and I would any day of the week rather fight a behemoth one-on-one than a Colonel Gutsy.
Same. Yeah, there's so much easier. It's surprisingly easy to fight. And you can block them somehow. I don't get that, but that's kind of entertaining. But despite my complaints, I'm in a complaining mood lately because there's something wrong with my shoulder and it hurts all the time. The rest of Wastelanders is awesome. I had such a good time. Kite was in the room for when I did Beckett's quest line. This is just a side ally NPC that you get at your camp that you do quests for. His side quest, was probably my favorite and, in my mind, most well acted quest in the whole thing. And it's just one of the side quests. Like, there was, oh man, the end of that quest was so good. I don't remember having that sort of feeling of emotional investment in a Fallout game as I did during that quest, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And part of it was that the emotional side of it was a very realistic thing that character or people deal with. So that probably played a big part in it. It's relatable. That's what makes good stories to begin with. But man, if you get a chance, play Beckett's storyline at least, because it is so good at the end.
I will say, tied into that whole thing as well, one of the best things about 76 is the whole kind of choice/consequence thing, and that is because it's an online-only game. And I made an entire video pretty much about this when I was struggling to choose between siding with the Settlers or the Raiders on my main character, and it is a case of you can't just load up an old save and see what the other path is. Yeah. Once you've got to the end of the whole dialogue thing and left the location or whatever, that is how it will stand forever.
You have to commit.
Yeah, so with each character, the choices really do matter.
It does tell you, though, when you reach that point. I mean, when you're choosing between the two factions, I mean.
Oh yeah, you get a warning for the factions, but the factions is the obvious one. There are so many other choices where just crazy consequences happen. Okay, I'm gonna say this as spoiler-free as possible, but there was a point where I killed a significant character by choosing the wrong speech option. And I was like, oh my god. And on top of that as well, it was from passing a check. So there's special checks in the game now. I passed one of them, and the character then died because of that. And I love that. I will say it was in an instance location, and if you Alt F4 directly after a bad choice, there's a decent chance the game won't have saved yet. But it's really good having choice and consequence in an online multiplayer game. Because it ups the stakes so much more than anything else. It's great. I love it. I can't wait for more.
I actually have a question for you guys about it, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Because I haven't yet delved into Wastelanders. Would you say that it feels like Wastelanders is something that they've handcrafted especially for this occasion, or do you feel like it was something that they always meant to have in 76, but just never got around to getting it implemented until now?
Sarge knows my answer.
Okay.
Oh, no, I don't. Wait. I feel like I might be able to guess your answer, but I'm not sure.
That this was always planned from the beginning. They just launched it too early.
Okay.
I think this was kind of happened as was planned, because the actual overall story of 76 is really interesting in that you are the ones uncovering this destroyed world with remnants of people, and then they return later, and then afterwards more people are going to be returning, and all of this stuff's going to happen when you have interfaction battles or whatever. I think overall there's a really cool extended narrative, but because there were no NPCs at the start, people got very angry. Which, yeah. But I think not everything's happened to plan, but I think the overall structure of things is going according to plan in terms of story and stuff like that. There have obviously been other changes and small little things here and there, but overall narrative I think is remaining the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I do believe that they didn't anticipate PvP not being as much of an important part.
No, well, I can talk further on that because in the NoClip documentary they have a perk card in, I think it was agility. I can't remember what the perk card is called, but it talks about reducing the bounty timer, because bounties were originally going to be on a timer, and apparently you'd be able to steal things or stuff and do other ways to screw over people. Then it seems that got rid of before they launched the actual game. So before the game even came out, they were working on a more PvP-focused thing. Then the game came out and they decided at that point to reduce the PvP, and then pretty much every step forward they've reduced the PvP in adventure mode. Because it's a very small portion of the community who actually really likes PvP. Most people don't enjoy doing it in adventure mode. And even in Nuclear Winter, it's not got that huge of an audience. But yeah. This isn't a PvP game for the most part.
And I mean, part of what turned people off, I think, in survival mode, like the weekly weapons, man, those were awesome. But what turned people off was the severe imbalance of combat.
Yeah.
Which Nuclear Winter remedied by making just a level playing field.
Yeah. Right.
So, but yeah, survival mode was like, just bring your best gear. You could have hacked weapons even. Like,
yeah.
That's not fun. And also the respawns were bullcrap. That was garbage.
Any form of adventure mode PvP has too many problems. There are people out there who still love it, but there's not a lot of them, and they're generally just finding other people who have like 2-shot explosive Tesla rifles, and they'll just kill each other, respawn, kill each other, respawn, kill each other, respawn. It's nah. At some point, I'm going to make a video just saying get rid of PvP entirely. It's gonna happen.
Oh, I wanted to ask, since you did videos on the weekly weapons, Sarge, was one of the weapons that were rewarded a former weekly weapon, the 50 cal?
Yeah, there were about half a dozen weapons which they redid.
Sweet.
And after that, I actually made a video giving them a whole bunch of other weekly weapons, so that there'd be enough of them to do one every single week for a 6-month rotation. But have they done it? No!
Of course not.
I might actually link that video to a few of like the community managers.
It's good that they're actually recycling good things that they already made, though. Like,
I mean, they did it for like 6 weeks and then that was it, because they're not around anymore, the weekly weapons, which is why I'm annoyed.
No, I mean the one that they're being used in quests and stuff.
Oh, I think
Did you...
no.
Did you not understand my question?
I thought you were meaning something else.
Yeah, I was asking if the 50 cal that you get from
a certain quest within Wastelanders. No. That's a slightly different one, I believe.
Okay. It looked like it had a name that was...
Yeah,
that was similar or the same as a weekly weapon.
Come on, Sarge. It is Final Word, which, yes, is a bit different. It is a armor-penetrating faster-fire rate 50 cal, where the other one was... God, I can't remember the name of it. It was the first one I did. It was a 2-shot 50 cal with like faster fire rate and reload, I believe. So similar, but not the same.
I think it was in the subreddit or something that somebody was saying that it's got a lower repair requirement too.
I cannot confirm or deny that, but I'd also probably not believe it just based off of one thing, because they might have had like a perk card which happens to lower that requirements. I know Armourer does for armor. I'm not sure if there's anything for weapons. Fact check reports, people, because never trust them.
You know, I heard, Sarge, that Graham is going to be playable.
Oh yeah, that's confirmed, obviously. No. There's also more travelling vendors that got added with Wastelanders as well.
Yes. But... And I also wanted to mention that there is a certain level of connection to the universe and to other NPCs. I sound like a hippie for a minute.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A connection to the Fallout universe and between NPCs that you hear every so often, that they know, or that it sounds like they are aware of each other's presence, and that makes the world more believable, which I like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, NPCs interact with each other and stuff, which is nice. Yes,
and also a couple of people that end up at your camp talk about, Sophia, for example, talks about Graham stopping by. And that's like the first person that she talked to. It was a super mutant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome.
She hasn't said that to me, I don't think, because that hasn't happened in for my version of her, but she's talked about other stuff that's happened, which has been very interesting.
Yeah.
And I romanced her, because you can romance your companions, and
Yes.
she loves it when I come back. It's
Yep.
great. And we just talk about comic books and video games, and it's great.
Yep. She's the perfect gamer girl who
Yep.
came from space.
Yeah.
It's the settlers reference in-universe location that I'm not going to spoil, and also one of the raiders talk about Eddie Winter from Fallout 4. Yes.
I now need to check if that was already mentioned, because I might even have a photo of how
Boston
that was mentioned
mobster.
before. There's a lot of like references and stuff now.
Yeah, I like it.
Great.
I like it a lot.
That's good. There is so much stuff. Okay, I'm checking the thing as well.
It shows that the ones that are writing the characters in the story are paying attention to not just the world that they're building, but the world that's already established, which is really cool. All in all, Wastelanders, yes, thumbs up for me. Keep doing stuff like this, and I might happen to go back on my word on not doing content on it anymore. It's gonna take a while though.
Yeah. But regardless,
Like I still have this like a bunch of highlights clips that I'm doing nothing with because like I don't want to make videos on it anymore, or chose not to, and now I'm thinking about like maybe I could.
I think overall we can say Wastelanders is a very good update,
Yes.
and anyone who already has Fallout 76 should jump back on and play it, and anyone who's on the fence about 76 should consider checking it out now that NPCs are back, and I feel like it'll be a lot more approachable for people who were hesitant before this point.
Yeah, and if you are thinking about it and don't have it yet, Sarge's First Look is a good video to check out.
Yep.
Because that's what it's about. It's checking out the new stuff.
Yep.
Speaking of new stuff, right?
Hey.
Figure we move on because we're going to talk about 76 later too.
Yeah.
Borderlands 3 had two cool things that came out for it. One was something we were anticipating, which was the Mayhem 2.0 update. I feel bad, kind of, for not playing any of these things because there's been other things that we both have been playing.
Yeah.
But Mayhem 2.0 is scalable. Mayhem was the basically bullet sponge and modifier mode that you could do in Borderlands 3 to get more loot. It like doubled to tripled to quadrupled your drop chance depending on how many penalties you wanted to give yourself. All these penalties came like out of a pool, so sometimes it would be like really cool, like some modifiers in your favor. Other times it would be just like complete crap and you would want to like leave and then come back to see if you could get it to change. But now Mayhem 2.0's got 10 level like scaling system that has only a few modifiers but also has the enemy like health shield and armor buff along with it depending on how far you scale it. And then of course loot is given depending on that, and I think once you start at Mayhem 4 then you start getting like Mayhem 4 specific legendaries, and the higher it is scaled the better legendaries you'll be getting to, not just the same thing over and over and over. And all of it's pretty cool. I didn't even really give much time to checking out the modifiers that they threw in there, but one of them is a big head mode.
Of course.
Yeah. So the big head mode, I think it applied to everybody. So the Vault Hunters and the enemies would all have big heads. So obviously, headshots all around. Which looks pretty entertaining to do. And there was like a health link type thing, where if enemies got close enough, like they would absorb health or something like that, which made it pretty intimidating.
It's pretty cool.
I didn't see anything about the floor is lava, but I'm sure that's a thing too still.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I forgot. Man,
I want it to be a thing.
so much stuff.
Yeah. But looking forward to trying it out. We have a link to 13 minutes of Mayhem 2.0. Yeah, it was the Borderlands people showing off the Mayhem 2.0 thing. So if you've been playing or haven't played Borderlands 3 in a while and are looking for something to play, there's a lot of stuff to play right now.
Yeah.
There's that update, and there's also the Revenge of the Cartels free event going on, which
Has that started?
Yeah.
What? Delay it by a week, Borderlands. Come on, don't you know I'm super
I
busy?
think so, yeah. From April 23rd to June 4th, we have a month. So
Okay, that's good. Got time.
we could probably knock it out in a day, to be honest. But I'm reminding myself like what I didn't really particularly like, but I know it's what brings players back is the level scaling every time there's a DLC that comes out, which forces you to get more gear and like throw away the stuff that was really good at level 50 but now it's useless. Sarge heard my emotional outbursts when I was like, oh my god, all my rechargers are useless.
Yep. All those items you spent so long getting.
Because I had to throw away all of my shields, basically. I had like 4 or something like that I was just like, gotta chuck them. But that frees up more bag space, I guess, so whatever. But there's, with the new DLC, Guns, Love, and Tentacles, too, like, because Gage is in it, there's apparently, they apparently had to put in a Gage shotgun, too, which is called the Anarchy. And I got a really good roll on it that I'm probably never gonna get again. Yep. And it's got a natural anarchy effect, which means after every shot or after every reload, it's got the bullet bounce and the increased damage, basically how Gage worked in the second game. But also it had that on top of it as its anointed effect, so it had like double anarchy on the shotgun, and it's absurd how powerful that thing is. But it's not going to be very powerful for very long because DLC's not done yet.
Yep.
And it's on level 53.
I've decided I'm only playing one character until there's like an actual hard cap on the level. Because I don't have time to level all of my characters.
Yeah. You thought you did.
If I didn't have to also make videos, I could just play video games all the time. Be great.
Yeah. I would like to do that too, actually. But sometimes we have to work too.
Yeah.
That's how life is. That's how being an adult has to be, I guess.
Don't say that word. Don't ever
That's
say
a
that
swear.
word.
Okay, so we had 2 games released too that I completely have not played yet, and I want to. Mm-hmm. April 24th, we had Trials of Mana and XCOM Chimera Squad release same day, and I want to play them both. And I'm still playing through hard mode on Final Fantasy VII Remake and playing Wastelanders. So I don't feel like my brain could handle 4 different games at the same time that are new. So I'm gonna wait. Trials of Mana is a remake of Seiken Densetsu 3, which was the third Mana game, basically, that was mainly in Japan on the Super NES and was only playable on emulators until very recently, where they had like the Collection of Mana release for Nintendo Switch. And then Trials of Mana came by and it was like, hey, we're gonna make it in a 3D space and it's gonna have like action oriented depth in its combat because it's gonna be 3D. And yeah, so that part's cool. And it was like a word for word story wise remake too. So like the only thing that was mainly changed was just the gameplay elements to make it more modern, but the whole story is intact, which works for and against it because they voice the characters too, and it's bad. Like you can even it sucks when you can even hear it in the Japanese dubs. Like you're able to switch it if you want to, but you can hear it in the Japanese dubs too, where you know like it's not it's not up there in the amount of effort put into these characters, but it's a little better when you have subtitles, so I would recommend that if you go to play it. And of course XCOM Chimera Squad is a XCOM spin-off using the XCOM 2 technology. They haven't put out a game for a while, and it's like a self-contained XCOM story where you're like 10 years after the Advent is taken care of and the aliens have basically been or the alien overlords had been squashed, and Earth is kind of going back to normal, except with alien and human people trying to get along afterwards. And Chimera Squad is a squad of XCOM operatives that are now working in a particular city that you're trying to maintain the peace in, and all of your units are not customizable or nameable like they used to be in other games, but they have their own kind of backstory and narrative going along with them, and they're a mixture of humans and aliens working together,
That's cool.
which is cool, yeah, as a concept. And instead of it being a squad-based turn system, it's a character-to-character turn system. Like it's got a stack now instead, and some abilities can play off of that kind of idea. Again, I've yet to play it, so I can't say much about it, but I will say that I didn't know it was a game until it released. Because it has a comic book aesthetic for a lot of the story beat type stuff, so all of their promotional material is like comic books in motion, which is really cool, but it looked like a TV show or something, not a game. Until they showed the gameplay stuff, and I was like, oh, it is XCOM. So yeah, I'm stoked to try that too. And because it is a spin-off and also using technology that already existed, at least it seems that way, it's $20 instead of full price, or $40 as
nice.
War of the Chosen was. And for some reason, Humble Bundle had it discounted by half launch day. So I got it for $10, and I would recommend that if you're planning on getting it.
It's 50% off on Steam right now. It's $10.
Yeah. That, like, I think they just wanted to, like, remind people that XCOM existed or something, and, like, heavily discount it. I don't know. Or maybe they saved a lot of money on promotional material, because all I saw was based on, like, the XCOM subreddit and, like, the XCOM channel on YouTube. Like, there was no other promotional stuff that I saw at all. Yeah. So, and Google knows that I look at XCOM stuff. Like, the algorithm knows, man. So it would have shown me ads if they were a thing, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much it for like game releases and junk. We didn't have too much newsy stuff, partially because my arm hurts.
I do want to add in very quickly that something Jared might be interested in. Have you played Amnesia: The Dark Descent?
I have not.
Well, good news, because you can pick it up for free Thursday, April 30th.
Ooh.
That is fantastic news if I didn't already own it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Hey, you can have 2 copies you don't have to play.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, I do want to play it just because it is like one of those milestone horror games of like 2012 or whatever that made in many YouTubers' careers.
Yeah.
So that's why I have it, and I've on purpose I've not watched any videos really about it. I've not watched anyone play it. So I've kept it very blind because I know that someday I will play it. So one of these days it will happen.
I've just taken a look and it's the only horror game I've played.
Yeah, I'm worried that I'll play it and I'll be like, why is everyone so afraid of this compared to some of the stuff that I've played recently?
Yeah,
because
I think it might be a slow one. Well,
which is fine.
I played it for like an hour or something. Just remember messing about in it and it not being too scary at the start, but it has a good reputation. And Epic Games Store is where it's free for anyone wondering.
Yes.
Along with Crashlands, a game I've never heard of.
Yeah, what was the was that the newest?
That's coming on the 30th. Right now it's For the King.
Ah, that one. Yeah. I was actually interested in playing that if I had time.
No. But anyway, that was a side tangent because I noticed something was free. And I like free stuff.
Free is good.
I'll put that in the outline so I don't forget.
Oh. How would you forget? We'll be jabbering on about it for like a while.
I just want to remember.
Okay.
It helps me.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, there's another 76 thing we saved for the end because then it kind of carries over to Fallout. So take it away, Sarge.
Yeah. So, earlier this week there was an AMA, Ask Me Everything, anything, I know how letters work, with a couple of the top peoples in the Fallout 76 team, Jeff Gardner and Ferret, can't pronounce his last name, and they basically were just fielding questions from the community and answering a bunch of them. And a whole bunch of stuff got revealed, so much so that I jabbered on for like half an hour about it in a recent video of mine.
You sounded pretty out of it by the time you were...
I was recording pretty late, and the edit was very late. But it's also like now where I don't have a fan on because it's just too loud, and it's really hot over here now all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. It's like tiredness and heat combined together just melts my brain. But we got like lots of announcements from small stuff they want to add in, like pets. They want to have that coming in the future. They're planning on having it so we can dress up our allies, which is cool, because I spoke about wanting to put Beckett in like the Grognak costume, because that'll be funny. And lots of small things like that. There were also hints that the Brotherhood might be returning to West Virginia. They talked about how floaters are made in basically the same processes as they were in Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, and how research was going on like simultaneously at the labs. Ooh. So even though the Master obviously is kind of like the father of super mutants and stuff and purposefully created them post-war, there's also stuff already going on the opposite coast for making super mutants through the same process. However, without the Master's influence and stuff, are obviously not as intelligent, and then more of the standard dumb super mutants that you get. But yeah, there was so much stuff. Like, I actually have realised I can be smart about this, because I saved all of the important comments and cut them out, and...
For a video?
Yes. So I can see a whole bunch of the questions. Roadmaps coming. Perk loadouts are coming. The camp system, they're adding, like, more space to it always. They talked about settlements with friends as well, where it's basically just a really difficult thing to do, but they want to make it. I have
no idea how that would work.
It's such a difficult thing to make.
Because they would both have to be online at the same time, for one. Because, like, the camps aren't.
Yeah. Or just not place the camp if not both people are online kind of thing. But, yeah, it'd be a whole issue.
Be really complicated.
Yep. Oh, the big thing as well is that the next kind of significant patch is coming in May, which is, like, next month.
Yeah, it's in, like, a couple weeks.
Yeah, they're literally having a PTS, another private test server, occur like very soon, so that they can have a couple of weeks of testing for the next patch. And they only do the PTSs now for like big significant patches with like story and stuff. And yeah, there's a new mole miner character coming we've got told about already. And there's so much stuff. They talked about the rebalancing they want to do as well, however briefly. And, oh yeah, the Enclave might be coming back as well, but the Brotherhood seems to be the ones who are more confirmed as coming back. And there was so much stuff there. And there's a Wendigo Colossus event coming. Jeez. There was so much stuff. So much stuff. Oh, and legendary perks. They spoke about briefly how it should transfer across the different characters. So, more reasons to play multiple characters, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Ooh, and man... I don't know what else I should mention from it, but there was a lot of stuff. Oh, energy weapons suck.
And they didn't really answer?
No. On the comment of basically energy weapons suck, which was actually a more detailed and well thought through comment someone put, they basically just went, hey, we're rebalancing the game at a future point. And it's like, well, that doesn't actually answer the question.
No, it really doesn't. Because
energy weapons suck.
Yeah, there's certain weapons, especially like if you go in thinking they're good, just because of how they look, you could be wrong. Like chainsaws are completely useless in the game. Yeah. So are any saw blade weapon basically. Energy weapons are notoriously weak compared to everything ballistic, pretty much. Rocket launchers, as much as I want them to be good, they are not good.
Fat Man's garbage.
Fat Man's terrible. It's so inefficient too.
It's like so many weapons that feel like they should be either iconically Fallout or something that feels good for a Wastelander to use within that franchise just kind of suck.
Yeah.
and you're left using like an AK-47 essentially, which is the handmade rifle pretty much.
Oh, Sarge, what are the new weapons like though?
I haven't tried them out yet because they are purchased with fancy currency. I've tried a little bit of the bow, but as well as the bow, there's a compound bow which I'm having to earn reputation for. The reputation grind for the last 2 levels is real. That's where you get all the good stuff. You also have to get the new currency, which we've spoken about, but is also spoilery. And I'm saving up on that because that takes a long time to get everything you want, seeing as you can earn like a good few hundred of the premium currency a day kind of thing. But a lot of the items cost like 1,000 odd to get, so it's like it's a longer grind. Plus, you can't trade the stuff, and they specifically said as well, I think within the AMA, that they want the stuff that you earn endgame Wastelanders to be kind of like a status symbol as well. Of hey, I've got this. Check this out. I did the grind to get it, which I do actually like and respect. But it does mean that Wastelanders is not simply, oh, I've gone through the main story, now I'm done. There's a huge endgame grind of just playing the game to get on with, which is what I'll actually need to be doing after this. I'll just be doing, like, the dailies.
Speaking of the subreddit, that's a huge complaint that they're having a lot of the time. The grind is what they're complaining about. And, like, that's a staple in online games. Like, that's not new. Like, I was already, like, complaining about like adding a new currency to the game. Like, I understand why they did it, but I didn't feel like they need more. But that's outside of the fact that there's going to be grind no matter what kind of thing. It's just finding that common amount to where, like, if somebody's playing 5 days a week or so, and that's being generous, and they're getting upwards of like 50 of those rewards per day, like, they'll get what they're trying to get in like, a week or two, but they shouldn't be able to get everything, right?
Yeah. The problem is, I think most of the people complaining do want to get everything very quickly as well. Yeah. And it's like, that's not going to happen. You actually have to make choices that are sensible about what you're purchasing within the game. Yep. And if you want to get everything, you're going to have to be playing for a good solid year or two every day almost.
I mean, maybe that's one of the downsides of it being based in the same engine as Fallout 4, because there's that association where, in Fallout 4 you could pretty much get everything you wanted, but in this one it's definitely not that.
I mean, that is single player versus multiplayer. Because it's a multiplayer game, I think it's far better to jump into and play like just for a few hours and then go do something else, rather than single player games where you might be like, cool, all I'm doing this weekend is playing through this entire story.
Yeah.
But that's not what 76 is, even though it does now have some really cool stories in it. And the faction stuff is well worth playing through. Oh, I've just realised I didn't ask as well, or at least I can't remember if you answered. Caedo, did you go Settlers or Raiders in the end?
Raiders.
I would highly recommend doing another characters and doing the final Settlers stuff, because without any spoilers and stuff, I will say the Raiders actually have better stuff you get from doing their quest line, which nobody's talking about, and which I should have a video out on Tuesday. It was supposed to be out yesterday, but sleep was required. But the Settlers, their penultimate quest, or penultimate to the penultimate quest, is my favourite quest in the game, I think. And I don't want to spoil it any more than that, but I really enjoyed it.
I'm surprised. I found a lot of them really boring.
Oh yeah, I'd say the Settlers overall are the more boring faction, but they happen to have the best quest right after you are forced to fully side with them and screw over the Raiders, which sucks. But it's really fun. It's a great quest.
I'll make Caedo to a boring settler then.
Yeah. Call him Boring McShillface or whatever.
Boring McSellout.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright. Well, yeah, so the main complaint is grindiness in the subreddit, but, like, that's, like Sarge said, the players that are probably expecting to be able to get everything really quickly, and that's just not going to happen. That's not how online games work. And I think they're just going to have to deal with that, or, maybe the developers will make it a little bit easier, but not by a lot. There's a lot of stuff that you can get with the new currency in the game that you get by doing daily quests and stuff. So I think that I think it's going to end up being worth it for some people.
Yeah,
myself
I would
included.
not be at all surprised as well if there later on down the line are other ways to get this new currency, because
Oh, for
there's
sure.
already a few different ways to get it. So
Yeah, because I remember, unless it converted those script rewards into the new thing rewards after you did finish the quest. Did you do that? Because I'm not entirely sure.
what I'm not sure what you're asking.
Like, I was doing the ally quest before I finished the main faction quest, and I was getting script from their side missions.
Oh, I did the allies before as well. I think you still get script for like Wastelanders is huge on script. Like you just
Okay.
get so much of it now. It's ridiculous.
Good.
I've had to several times go to the purveyor and just buy like legendary modules and Vault 94 steel because I'm just constantly getting too much script.
Oh, we should mention the mystery pick is going on.
That ends like Tuesday.
Yeah, but
Isn't that great?
if you have script that's burning a hole in your pocket, you can pay 60 to get a random 3-star legendary. It could be weapon or armor. I was enjoying the random factor a little bit myself. I ended up getting a pretty decent instigating power fist, which was cool.
Oh, nice.
I have another one-shot weapon, which is fun.
Woohoo. I do need to get myself a legendary bow at some point, but I'm waiting to get the better bow plan first, because that might be tied to whether or not you unlock one. I'm not entirely sure. Jury's still out
Gotcha.
on that stuff. But yeah. But I also sacrificed, like, probably quite a bit of money by not doing a mystery pick video. I was like, I'm not going to do it. And I felt both good and bad, because those videos are, like, so easy to make and so
They do
garbage
well.
in my opinion. But yeah,
They do well, though.
they always do great.
Watch me open this box.
Yep. People love watching you roll dice.
And then it also raises your engagement because they disagree with you when you call something
Oh, yeah.
garbage.
I do think the next time I do a mystery pick thing, I'm just gonna call, like, all the stuff that might be good trash, and everything that's terrible, just get really excited over
Just
it.
completely reverse on it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
like, oh my god, I got Nocturnal Knuckles, people. I got Nocturnal Knuckles.
I'm so excited to use this only at night.
Yep,
That's so great.
that'd be fun.
You might be a genius.
It's important to be playful about it, because otherwise you get too invested with the take it as criticism people like to egg us on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
you
hear you.
suck, okay? Take it as criticism.
Right. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I feel like I know what I'm talking about.
Well, talking about commenters who will keep coming back and telling us we suck, Fallout has a lot of characters who will keep coming back, and actually most of them are pretty nice. It seems that within Fallout, it's nice people and good boys who stay alive, which is good. It's good. And the baddies, we all murder. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jared,
Yo.
do you have a kind of jumping off point you want for NPCs in Fallout that are recurring characters? One that comes to mind. I said that in a very strange way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, can you rephrase exactly what
I'll
you want?
rephrase that. Hey, Jared,
Yo.
is there a recurring NPC in the Fallout games that you just enjoy being around, or that you enjoy killing?
that I enjoy killing?
I'll leave it open.
I do appreciate that. Gosh. You know, I know that Sarge will appreciate it, but I mean, the only one that I can really think of is dog meat, and we were talking about that
Yeah.
earlier. And I do find myself, because lately I've been playing Fallout 4 more than any of the others, and I just like having them. You know, like I think if I was in that situation, I'd want my faithful companion dog that I just found randomly in a gas station, who instantly loves me,
Yep.
to be with me at all times. So for lack of just like not remembering all of the recurring characters other than the ones we have listed here, the only one that I can honestly say that I've used more than once would be dog meat.
Dogs are the best. My sister actually
yeah.
told me last time I live streamed that the dog was watching me the entire time and really enjoying it. Because my sister's dog is probably my biggest fan. Because dogs are just great.
Yeah, dogs are awesome.
I know we got into disagreement right before we started recording about which dogs are actually better in
we-
gaming.
We didn't get into a disagreement about that. You refuse to acknowledge that dog meat is a good boy. It's not about which is better. It's about the fact that dog meat is a good boy.
It comes down to my problems with his AI, okay?
Caedo.
What?
There's going to be a lot of bad Caedos in the
What?
comment. People going, bad Caedo, bad!
I can complain all I want, because it's my complain pain day.
Complain cost.
Complain cast, yeah. I was talking about D-Dog in Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, after I had played, like, if I can go off on a tangent, after I had played Metal Gear Solid 5 and seen how well companions can be pulled off in a game, and D-Dog especially, I was like, I can't help but make comparisons now at this point. It was impossible. Even the last time I played, and it was right before, I think it was right before 76 came out, was the last time I played Metal Gear Solid 5. And, like, D-Dog is a fantastic companion. And he does the heal thing. He doesn't get in your way most of the time. Like, there is situations sometimes where he can, like, you're looking through your goggles. Generally, I found myself being annoyed by dog meat more so than D-Dog. So maybe that's my gauge.
Everyone loves dog meat.
And how I decide. Except for Caedo.
I can tell you that everyone loves dog meat, because on the 21st of July 2016, yeah, like 4 years ago-ish, I made a video called What Happens When You Don't Meet Dog Meat at Red Rocket, and it's probably like the oldest video of mine, which got tons and tons of views, because everyone goes and hangs out with dog meat, because dog meat is a good boy who we all love.
Doesn't he just end up in Diamond City?
Dog meat is a good boy who we all love. And yeah, he ends up in Diamond City, because of course you have to meet dog meat, because he is a good boy who we all love.
Even the game knows that your destinies are intertwined.
Yeah.
Or
Can't have a Fallout game without dog meat.
Or he watched your significant other get shot and did nothing about it.
Ooh. Dang.
Dog meat wasn't there for that.
If he was, he would have ripped frickin' Kellogg to pieces.
Yeah.
We all know it.
But how did he know how to find Kellogg so quickly?
Because he smells the cigar which has the scent on it. That's
Yeah.
literally what dogs do. They're like famous for having really good noses.
And it's literally one of the quests in the main story.
Yeah.
That's
How did he end up? What's the explanation for him like just ending up in Diamond City if you don't like meet him?
Because you should watch my video. What happens when you don't meet dog meat at Red Rocket?
I should do that to get a little refresher.
No, it's obviously
I'll
that'll
inflate
be
your view
linked-
count, Sarge. I do that for you.
It doesn't need it. It's a video I was so confused that just spiked in views, and I was like, what? It was weird because it has like random spikes just constantly, and I'll have people commenting on it, and it'll just be that in the middle of all my recent videos or whatever. But yeah, no. Nick's worked with dog meat before because Nick understands that dog meat is a good boy.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
So I suppose now that we've spoken about the best character in all of Fallout, we should talk about the suckers who are terrible and aren't dogs.
Wow. The one that I would argue is the best character would be Harold.
Last I checked, he didn't mutate into a dog, he mutated into a tree. And dogs piss on trees.
Second would be Marcus. They're both, well, for one, they add a interesting perspective in the story because those are perspectives of non-humans, and good or mistreatment of them is also, something that is a fun, interesting, I would consider interesting storytelling device.
Yeah.
Having some sort of oppressed or oppression-based like character where they have to do things differently. Or in Harold's case, Harold's had a weird like lifetime or life in general, and every time we bring Harold up, I am still salty about how Bethesda ended up turning him into a tree in the first place. Because in Fallout 2, it was just a tree growing out of his head. And he had already been around for quite a while. But for some reason, by the time Fallout 3 happened, the tree just grew around him somehow.
I mean, he didn't have a tree in the first Fallout, did he?
It was like a little twig.
Yeah, then it grows more in Fallout 2, right, to a tiny tree.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it does make sense that the tree gets bigger and grows more. That's understandable to an extent. Like, it's not all out there. It's not like, and in Fallout 3, Harold was suddenly a boar!
I need to look at the year difference.
Yeah, it will be based on how quickly it grows.
Fallout.
And the fact that Harold just doesn't actually, like, clip it at all or anything.
He doesn't trim his tree?
Yeah, just a bit of basic botany. Oh man, if only we're endorsed by Manscaped now, I feel like that would be a perfect
That'd be great.
grooming thing to get on about.
Okay, so there's not really a tree there at all with the Fallout 1 Harold. I misremembered.
Okay.
Okay, so he's 89 years old in Fallout 1. I'm glad they have this here in the wiki. He's 137 in Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. We can ignore that one. He was 169 in Fallout 2.
Nice.
And he's 200 and he's 205 in Fallout 3. So
Okay, so that's less than 40 years.
yeah.
It is fast growth. But
It's a fast-growing tree.
I feel like it's not a small enough amount of time for me to be like, oh, impossible, mutant trees growing in 40 years? No. But, yeah. I'd say the problem there is Harold not being sensible and trying to trim his twigs a bit. I mean, you've got to make yourselves presentable. Doesn't matter if you're a ghoul in the post-apocalypse. Got to get out there. Look good. Remain indoors.
I'm gonna correct you, mutant. He's a mutant.
Yeah. It's because in the first game, he's basically treated like a ghoul, because he basically is a ghoul in the first one.
He looks like one, and he talks about... He uses ghoul terms, like smooth skin, when he's in Gecko. So there is a confusion there, and there can be one. But yeah, he was one of the people that fell into the vats, and he was the result, and also the Master was the result.
Yep.
So weird things happen when you drop into FEV by accident.
What? FEV is just magic sauce.
It is magic sauce. Also, I do want to... It was such a highlight in the Brotherhood of Steel playthrough, I probably should say anyway. Harold in Brotherhood of Steel, this is between Fallout 1 and 2. Now I found out. So he had the tree growing out of his head in Brotherhood of Steel, but he also had the wonderful feature and side quest of his body parts just falling off, and you had to go collect them when you were like out in the dungeons and stuff. You had to find his arm, his toe, and his eye to return to him, which
I mean, if his body's falling off as well, that does kind of make more sense for why the tree overtakes.
Like maybe the tree is pushing his body parts off as it grows and takes over.
And then if he's not got like arms and legs and stuff, they're falling off. It's like, how's he going to deal with a tree? Once he stops being able to deal with a tree, which he might have been doing a bit beforehand, then it is just going to completely grow and consume him.
I think he was considered a ghoul in there too.
Do you mean Sarge was right?
No, I mean that Fallout Brotherhood of Steel didn't respect the universe.
And you think I do?
Wow! Spicy, Sarge.
I need my Let's Get the Comments Angry comment in there at some point. Oh my good Sarge, why didn't you speak with lore?
Be mad at me about dog meat and then be mad at Sarge about everything else.
Yes.
Jared, make the comments angry about something.
Oh, I'll think
Which
of
Fallout
something.
game's the best Fallout game?
That's easy.
Yeah.
It's definitely Fallout 4.
There we go. You say anything other than New Vegas, everyone will hate you.
Yeah, I know.
That's an easy one.
I thought about going with 76, but I mean, it feels like it's, since our conversation has alluded to kind of the opinion being swayed.
I mean, don't get me wrong. 76 is still the worst game in existence and everyone plays it as a corporate Bethesda shill. But, you know, it's better.
You've already pissed him off, dude. You're good. You're good, man. Simmer down.
The Vault Dweller, he was just a recurring character in Brotherhood of Steel, but he was like represented in Fallout 2, I think. But it was more just like reference material than like actual like plot involvement.
Yeah, I mean, I something in general I don't like in series is when like a player character comes back as an NPC.
Yeah.
Most of the time I don't like that. The only series I can think of where I do like that is Borderlands, where I think that actually does it really well, but largely because there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff about the player character, and like, oh, this legendary creature was slayed by 1 to 4 adventurers.
Yeah. They have that built into the lore already, and also like the characters are actual characters, whereas in like Fallout's case, especially with the Vault Dweller, like they're who you made basically as your character. Yep. And that can shatter your headcanon if you see them like show up in a later game and they're just like, well, that's not my character, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, there's really basic ones as well, like gender. If you play as like a female Vault Dweller, the default one is like male, so it's like, oh, that changed quite significantly between this game and the last one.
Yep. I did find it cool in the first Fallout game where they had the walkaway scene, like I think it's the before credits or after credits scene, where it is the female model if you're playing a female character, which is a cool little bit of detail. But in Fallout 2, it's a male statue in the NCR of the Vault Dweller, so
yeah,
that kind of throws it out the window.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think that the Elder Scrolls tends to do it a bit better, because obviously you never see at least as far as I know, you never see like a player character coming back as such, but there's sometimes like allusions to it hidden deep within dialogue or things like that. But with Fallout being closer together timeline wise within the various entries,
I agree.
I don't know if I want to touch on Maxon. Sorry, what was you going to say, Jared?
Oh, I was saying I agree with the whole main characters becoming NPCs. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's it, just agreeing. Trying to contribute as little as I can in this podcast.
That's why I wanted to ask you like right off about like your remembered NPCs, kind of.
I do appreciate it.
Much conversation time.
I alluded at the beginning that I wasn't gonna have as much to contribute this time around.
And if you have any like additional suggestions, like I could rant about Dr. Lee. She's a recurring character.
I mean, recurring character, yes, but I feel like Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, there's so many characters because it is like 20 years later, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just so close that, of course, there's tons of characters, because even within the Wasteland, living 20 years isn't, like, phenomenal. It's just something that you hope will happen. And it was nice to have them come back, and I think, like, the short split in the time worked quite well in that game as far as I was concerned, especially because they didn't have the player character come back in any way, which I was very happy to hear about, and there weren't too many references to the place they came from or whatever. But it bugs me a bit as well with them.
Well, go on, Sarge.
That's pretty much all I had to say about it, to be honest. Yeah.
I thought that was a rant. Oh.
No. I realised I did my starting a rant sentence after the like mini rant.
Dang it. Alright. I like that you saw Arthur Maxon basically grow up, which I thought was really cool, into an actual functioning leader. And
I don't like that.
You didn't like that?
Because you don't get the in-between part. You just get, oh, here's some kid, and then, oh, here's the leader of the Brotherhood of Steel. You don't actually see an arc in the character at all. You just have two separate points.
Yes?
Why are you putting a questioning thing on that?
I just enjoyed seeing him as a functioning leader. I am kind of biased again with the like going back to the original values of the Brotherhood of Steel. Like that was something in Fallout 4 that people didn't like. Like they didn't like how hardcore the Brotherhood of Steel was, and I'm like, that's how they're supposed to be. And maybe that's part of why I liked Arthur, was because like he's just gonna do it. Like he's just gonna, if you're gonna synth around, oh he's gonna ruin your day. Because that's what the Brotherhood does if you got technology, or abuse technology.
Yeah.
And I'm totally down with that, because that's taking the original values of the original Roger Maxon, the basically his progenitor, the right term. Yeah,
Sure.
because Arthur is his progeny. Arthur's the descendant of Roger Maxon. But yeah, I just thought that whole keeping the Brotherhood alive, essentially, from its origin point. Yeah, Dr. Lee, how she got tied in to the Fallout 4 story, wasn't a fan. Because I just didn't want her around anymore.
Yeah. It wasn't necessarily how and why, it was her. That was the problem.
It was a why her.
She's such a compelling character.
Yeah, who doesn't love a grumpy scientist who hates you? It's exactly who you want on your side.
Yeah.
Totally.
That you
Keeps
can
you
somehow
grounded.
appeal to humanity, even though she hates your guts, because your dad already had a wife.
Dang it.
Like,
What?
yeah,
Ruining her
she
plans.
She had jealousy. Like, she was jealous of
Oh,
James.
you're talking Fallout 3.
Yeah, she
at
was
that
jealous of James and Catherine.
Yeah, sorry, I was mixing up Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 then.
Yeah, I kind of mixed those together because she's all grumpy pants all the time.
Yeah. It's another character who doesn't have an arc, even though it's 20 years later.
No, she doesn't at all. She's just like, technology's over here. I'm gonna help the Institute. Like, and then you appeal to her humanity somehow, where she's like making synths, like she's part of the process. And she's like, I've been wondering it for a long time if I'm doing the right thing. I'm like, Jesus, you can figure that out yourself.
No, I needed a protagonist to question me just once.
One time with the
Yep.
with the high enough charisma check.
Yeah,
Like,
I was going to
it's
say
so
charisma check.
stupid.
Even without the charisma check, it's just find one shred of evidence that things might not be good.
It's so dumb. Okay, so just a little aside, like I don't think I can get into it as much because I'm not like so focused on Fallout 4 at this point, but I still was not the biggest fan of like trying to discover what the Institute's motivations were. Like it was hard to actually come up with anything that actually made sense.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'd like to make robot people.
Yeah, well, most people would, I think.
Yeah, I feel like the whole wanting to make robot people and it just going a bit far isn't too complex. It's like, hey, we're gonna build better people. Oops, we kidnap your family. Oh dear.
The thing that got me was like they're so advanced and so incredibly intelligent that they didn't have an actual like explanation as to why things were happening besides mankind redefined. But that was like all you got. I don't know.
I mean, I think I don't mind it as much because I'm more pro-robot than pro-human.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's like, oh yeah, of course you create a synthetic life form that's going to be better equipped, that can do better than humanity. Actually, my biggest problem was that the simps were too human. And if I'm going to create a robot version of humanity, I want it to be better, because humanity sucks.
Alright.
Yeah.
That's
That'd be
good.
my problem with it. But no, there's all these humans who are like, oh, we're the best race, because we're us. But
Oh,
no,
it could have been
robots.
due to the dialogue limitations too, but you couldn't press for more information. As at least it didn't seem that way. You couldn't press for more information about like what was actually happening, as opposed to just like the vague replies that you were getting on like, what's the Institute up to?
Yeah.
What's with
So-
the whole replacing humans thing that you're doing?
Yeah. Slight aside on that, I really hope they stick with the Fallout 76 dialogue for like all future Fallout games,
Oh, dude, for sure.
because that's basically just an improvement on the Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas dialogue system. Like they just got that and made it a little little bit better.
Yeah. I think Bethesda got the message on voice pro tags. Like, it was an experiment. It wasn't, it wasn't the best. It did give a certain level of... I don't know if I have the right immersion.
It makes the scenes play out more realistically.
Yeah.
And I think that for a single playthrough, Fallout 4 kind of feels the best for that reason. But if you ever want to play it again and mix things up, it makes it significantly worse.
Yeah. And I was getting like Mass Effect vibes when I was playing through the first time, because that's kind of, I think that's part of what they modeled it off of. Or a big part, actually, because Mass Effect had the 4-choice thing too.
They were kind of like, so the Institute was kind of like, what do they call them? Cerberus from Mass Effect?
I mean, I wasn't going from a narrative point of view, but yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I don't know.
But I was talking about like the dialogue and how it functioned. It was very similar to, and the camera angles too. Let's play wise, it made dialogue so easy.
I still ramped it up when it came to roguelike though.
Remind me what you did.
I just like extra angles, and I had a couple of points where people would be talking about going to a location, and I'd like show the location or something.
Ooh,
there's always more you can do. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's more I wanted to do as well, but I rushed out roguelike, so I'm still impressed with how it went. My favourite one was the Nick versus Dino, the underling person. That was really fun to film.
Oh yeah, that's pretty great. But yeah, we talked about lots of other stuff besides recurring characters.
Maybe we got very distracted.
Maybe that's the point of a podcast. Well, if you in the comments are still paying attention to the nonsense that we're talking, and you have a recurring character that you like or dislike, or maybe even a character you hoped would come back at some point in some capacity in the Fallout series, please share down below. You might be featured as the comment of the cast, because we're doing that thing for real now. I feel like we can probably move on to what we're playing / working on. I didn't really have anything else to add for the topic, so.
Yeah. So, Jared, what you doing?
Well, so lately I've delved into the crafting, survival, whatever, satisfactory epic games. It's pretty cool, actually, if you like that kind of game. Very pretty game. Alien planet, building lots of stuff.
Okay.
It's still I believe it's still in early access or whatever they call it on Epic Games, so they're constantly updating it, which is kind of cool.
It's by Coffee Stain Studios?
Probably.
But it's made with the Unreal Engine, which is by Epic Games, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I don't know who makes it, so you're probably right. I just started playing it maybe the beginning of this week. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that, and I finally decided on Half-Life Alyx. I was on the fence of whether or not I wanted to spend the full price, but that seemed to be the one that most people wanted to see. So, and I could say right now that it's absolutely one of the best VR games I've ever played.
Awesome.
It's if you're a fan of Half-Life, it's just fantastic. It feels so good. If you can do VR, I know some people get kind of queasy with VR, but it's a shame it's only VR.
But they might be doing a non-VR. I'm pretty sure. I remember seeing something. Man, rumor mill again. I remember seeing something about like a modded version of like non-VR that you could play Half-Life Alyx.
I think that would be cool at a reduced price, maybe, because I feel like you're definitely going to lose a lot from not playing it in VR as it is.
Yeah, especially because the grab physics type thing.
Definitely, which is
a big part of it.
Freaking so much fun to play with. It's so intuitive. It works so well. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it, even though I've only played like an hour of it. In fact, funny story. The first time I played it, I recorded it, only to find out that OBS did not record any of the audio of the game.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had to go back and re-record everything that I had done. But it's a really fun game, so it was, you know, I didn't have any problems playing through it again.
But you knew what you were doing the second time.
Yeah. A little bit. But other than that, like I've played a couple of different horror games VR, which I will tell you right now, you haven't played horror games until you've played them in VR. It's a completely different, I don't even know, feeling. It's just it really steps it up to the next level for if
I already don't like horror games, so I know that I don't. I'd probably
yeah, I
cry.
know you guys don't seem to, you don't really care for them.
Well, the reason I'm not that interested in horror games is I don't find them as scary as I'd like to. So I
Right.
would be interested, or at least more interested, in a VR horror game. But then my problem comes to the point of I feel like I'm just going to break like a controller by smashing it into a wall as soon as something pops up at me. Which is my biggest... That, I'd be more scared of doing that than I would be fear from anything inside the game.
Right. No, I definitely agree with you on that. Very definitely taking it to the next level for horror, and just other. I mean, I've come to the conclusion that horror games is kind of what does better on my channel. I'm starting to try to examine what I do on my channel and what does better than other things, and horror games tend to be what people like to see. I do enjoy playing them though, so that's definitely a plus. So
Yeah.
I'm always on the lookout. That's what I've been up to.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like most of your existing audience already like kind of showed up to watch you do horror stuff. So
Yeah.
if that was like already the majority of your videos, especially when that big spike happened.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had already been focusing quite a bit on that particular genre just because I have a ridiculously overactive imagination, so horror games scare the crap out of me for the most part. Very easily. So it's fun to watch, I guess.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to sacrifice yourself for others' entertainment.
Yeah, well,
it works.
I mean, doing YouTube, boy. Come on now.
Yep. That pretty much all I've been doing. What have you been working on? Or is that kind of the same? Almost?
That's pretty, I mean, it's the funny thing about doing YouTube stuff. It's like what I'm working on and what I do for fun. And the lines start to kind of meld together.
Yep.
It's one of the reasons why I haven't really gotten a chance to dive into Wastelanders. It's just because I haven't had time to diverge from what I'm working on and what I want to do for fun.
Yeah.
Not to say that what I'm working on is not fun. It's just there's only so many hours available. But Half-Life and VR and horror is pretty much what I'm playing and what I'm working on.
Okay.
But what about you, Caedo?
What about me?
Yeah, you're next on the list, so I'm assuming we're just going down the list.
Lists. Oh my goodness, let me tell you something about lists.
Oh, that'll get us triple views on the podcast.
Yeah. So, an undeniable truth that I found out late last year was that lists just perform well no matter what, it seems like. So, the last two videos that I did that aren't podcast stuff, I slowed way down on my like quantity side and went to the quality focus, but also like switching gears type thing that I'm still really bad at for like games that come out that are recent. So I made two 10 plus things I wish I knew for Final Fantasy VII Remake. The first one performed extremely well, and the second one is still sitting at 3 digits for the past like like 3 days, but I think it was my second Witcher Things I Wish I Knew. Like, did the exact same thing for several days and just spiked one day, like a week after or something like that. It's something really strange with, like, the algorithm and not picking up on, like, if the SEO is especially, like, similar, if it's a continuation of something. I'm not exactly sure, like, what causes it to do that, but it's still a trending topic, obviously. I'm just waiting for it to catch. But I know it's going to, it's just a matter of when. Even if not, I really am proud of how that turned out. Like, I've been able to do, like at the beginning of each topic, I have, like, a Final Fantasy VII menu, like, classic menu look to, like, the headers, or the titles for each section. So, it's a mixture, like, basically like the new game, it's a mixture of, like, classic stuff with new stuff, even visually. So, I was really happy with how that turned out. And also the amount of tips that I came up with in the second one, because, like, I thought I was close to out, like, the first one I put out. But after I started playing in hard mode, I started coming up with some hard mode tips too, because hard mode is a completely different beast in comparison to the normal normal difficulty. Hard mode, you can't use items. This is a Final Fantasy game where you can't use items in hard mode. So that's a whole thing that's challenging. I've gotten a little over halfway through the story in hard mode, and I already got past one of the hardest bosses, which is Hell House in hard mode, because he pops out 3 Tonberries intermittently, and anybody who doesn't know, who hasn't played Final Fantasy, Tonberries, if they get close enough, they move very slowly, but they have these little butcher knives. If they get close enough to you to stab you, they one-shot you. So, like, insta-kill moves.
Chef's knife.
Yeah. The chef's knife, yeah. It's bullcrap.
My only memory of them is farming them in Final Fantasy VIII to get the Tomberry, King Tomberry, or whatever it was to appear. There was so much of that.
Yeah.
You have to kill like 100 of them or something stupid. It's just like slaughter, 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 and if they ever get close enough, it is just instant death. You're like, cool, I gotta fully heal up this person now, then slaughter, slaughter.
Yeah, it's absurd. And then when you don't have any healing items, you have to walk in with revive materia and things that don't use up MP, because you can't regenerate MP unless you break down crates too, which is a whole nother level of difficulty. So yeah, I've been actually really enjoying the challenge in that. You know, during the times where my arm isn't throbbing, it's nice to, you know, get to play that when it's a nice little thing that I can just play at this point. I'm still coming up with speaking of lists, I'm coming up with a countdown for ridiculous materia combos that are awesome. Unfortunately, there's only so many you can do with the amount of materia you have to choose from in the remake, but there's enough there to work with, I think. And obviously, I've been playing Fallout 76 Wastelanders with Sarge here and there, and also by myself, playing through the story and stuff like that. Been really enjoying it, minus my gripes with the Colonel Gutsies and the frame hitching that were probably on equal amounts of frustration, but like I said, minus all that, minus those 2 things, they're pretty minor compared to everything else, like the general quality of things and how not broken everything else is. I know that that's usually not supposed to be a criteria, but for 76 I'm going to use it as one, because it's always up in the air with updates, and thankfully the private test servers kind of improved everything in general, it seems like. So I'm into it. I'm into 76 Wastelanders, and I don't know what else. No, I don't think I did anything else really.
Yeah, that's understandable, because all I've been doing is Wastelanders stuff for the most part. I've made a whole bunch of videos on it since the day it came out. I've been making near daily content. I think, like, the day of recording might be, like, the first day where I'm not having a video out, because there was just so much stuff. And I did have a video planned for today, but then I just kind of crashed, because I've just been doing non-stop Wastelanders, to the point where I can still see it whenever I close my eyes. But the times I haven't been playing Wastelanders, a new set came out in Magic the Gathering Arena, and just yesterday I built the most ridiculous Brawl deck based around gods and cheating them onto the field. So gods are like some of the most powerful cards we've currently got available to us. And the latest set had like these tricolour 7-cost, really difficult to cast cards, which let you like search your library and just bring out things for free, or bring back all permanents from your graveyard, or crazy stuff like that. And I just basically put them all together into a single rule deck, and I've lost, I think, 2 matches and won about a dozen with this deck that nobody else has ever used. And it's so much fun, because people have no idea what's going on, because I'm just playing ramp cards non-stop until suddenly I have a deck, or have the board filled with like the most powerful creatures ever, and then they just keep buffing each other and getting stronger and just are impossible to stop. And then people just concede because they realise what's happened. It's beautiful. I love it. I'm having so much fun. But
That's
I've
awesome.
also been spending a lot of time uploading videos. And whilst I've been doing that, I've been wanting to not use the internet. So I've been playing some Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
What?
Nice.
Yeah.
What's that
Because-
game about, Sarge?
Oh, well, it's Skyrim -1. And it's all about just punching things and getting distracted on quests.
It's Fallout 3 with swords?
Yeah, it's like Fallout with swords. Oh man, so bad. Oh, but yeah, I've been playing Oblivion. It turns out when I jumped back into it, I was like partway through the Dark Brotherhood stuff, started doing a few more quests for them. I'm now at a point where I need to find like an elf who's just like within the Imperial City, and it's like, oh, ask an elf where they are or whatever. I then head to the elf who's outside the arena, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to tell you about this person who I know until I know you better. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do the entire arena stuff and just finish all of that off, and then talk to them again. So I did all of the arena stuff, became like Grand Champion, killed the guy who's a half orc and half something else secret, because I did the quest for that as well. And I was like, cool, let's head outside and talk to this guy. I'm the Grand Champion of the arena. He's definitely going to tell me now. No, exact same option. I'm not going to tell you about this person. I don't even know you. It's like, ah. I did like an entire quest line to try and get like one sub-quest done, and it didn't even do that.
I mean, you still get some extra questing stuff done. That
Yeah,
you're
but
probably
the
gonna
arena's
do.
so easy as well.
That's true.
Like, it's literally click, 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 cool, that person's dead, let's go back, click, 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 next person's dead.
Yep.
It's
pretty
really not
much.
difficult. So, yeah. But
Hey,
that has been it for me.
You gotta do the persuasion mini game.
Oh, God, that's so easy as well.
Yeah.
And I don't even get what it does most of the time. It's like,
I don't think
okay, I just
anyone
persuaded them.
does, man. You just click things and it works.
I think it mainly only has to do with discounts, and that's it.
Oh,
I
that's,
don't know.
that's-
It's been a long time since I played Oblivion.
I'll do the persuasion thing occasionally, and I'll just be like, okay, took me a minute, I've maxed out the disposition.
They
Nothing
love
has
me
changed.
now.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I'm saving up for the time where I want to go back to Oblivion. I'm going to go all in and, like, make at least a couple of videos on it.
Oh, okay.
If not, do some, like, it'll be retro guides at this point.
Yeah.
Make some retro guides for Oblivion. If I can get it to run, that's one of the things, too, I'm sure, is
It
getting it to
runs
run.
perfectly fine for me, just through Steam, just as is. I've had no problems at all. Yeah. I've even had Morrowind running alright. Like, if you go back further, then you have to go into, oh, I can't even remember what the software's called.
DOSBox?
That's the one, yeah, DOSBox. But yeah, Oblivion seems perfectly fine. Morrowind seems pretty good. I mean, I've not had any actual problems with it, but it's also Morrowind, so it's like, oh, this is how games used to be. That's, ooh, a bit difficult to deal with.
I have kind of switched to Shadowplay, like, almost fully now, too. Thanks to Rage 2. So, like, I might have an easier time recording off of it without even realizing it, because it seems to capture pretty much everything.
Oh yeah,
like,
Shadowplay's pretty good.
Even Final Fantasy VII Classic, like, the only issues I was running into was during a couple of, like, transitional loading screens. Like, it would pop up for a fraction of a second, like the little, like, notification thingy too would. because it would catch a like freeze frame of it or something like that. But you can turn those off. So, and then I could just cover up the black bars with something when I make a video, and it'd be fine.
Okay.
Anyway, if neither of you have anything left to contribute or say about the stuff today, I think we can call it good. We can call it a show. Call it a podcast.
Oh, Boone sucks. There we go. Sorry.
One last one.
Yeah, just gotta get the final one in there.
All right. All you wastrels out there, stay safe. We hope you take care of yourselves. And we'll catch you in another couple weeks where we'll do this podcasty thing again. And if you leave a comment, there might be a chance that you become a comment of the cast. So keep that in mind. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye, Sarge.
He's already gone.
Oh, he's gone.
I don't.